don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time.
All right, it's Friday, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Spencer Israel, Steve Strazza, Alfonso is with us. JC is with us in spirit today. He just decided to go to the beach or go to Florida. I don't even know where he is. Maybe if we're lucky, he'll call in. But I don't know. Maybe he'll call in from the beach. We'll find out. How about that? We'll have Alfonso stop by today. It's Friday, so we have Louis Sykes on the show. We got to talk cryptos on Crypto Friday. We will have Kenny Glick back on the show today. And we got a lot of things to talk about. UNH, Coinbase. There was this stock, this Chinese stock, the CYD, 2 days in a row, which is gapped up overnight. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Celsius. We got some beat report charts to share. So a lot to discuss. We'll probably end the show at around 9:30 or so. And that's the plan for now. Then we'll see where the show takes us after that. So, all right, what up, chat? We got Ovo Bone. You know what he did? He already smashed the like, which I appreciate. So do that now or forever hold your peace, because the show is starting. And you can't smash the like after the show starts. You can. You can. Oh,
happy Friday.
It is Friday. It feels like a short week because it was a short week. Funny how that works out.
Yeah, I don't like the short weeks, but sometimes you just got to pack your shit and go to the beach. So good for JC.
Yeah. And he's like he's away from his kids or something?
Yeah.
He left his kids?
Left him.
Didn't know that was allowed.
I just left him there.
But I'm still here. That means he left me. Anyway.
JC, your daddy?
Yeah, that's right. I also want to talk about Microsoft today. We missed that yesterday. I want to cover that. Steve, what's going on, man?
Nobody cares about Microsoft anymore. You notice that? It's like we're just over the Mag 7. There's a new game in town.
Well, speaking of Mag 7, you know who's had a sneakily good month? I didn't notice until yesterday, honestly.
Nvidia.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Not a top. Shocker, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. NVIDIA was off my radar. And then I was like, oh, my God. It's had a pretty good 3 weeks.
It looks damn good here. You look at some of the other ones, too. I mean, Broadcom, that earnings gap up was more than 2 months ago now. It's been dead sideways since. So the large cap semis look good. But Microsoft, talk to me about this CYD. Oh, that's what I want to talk about.
I don't even know what this company is. It's
I'll tell you.
You know, it's China Yuchai International. That's about all I know, other than the fact that today and yesterday, this thing was up like 30% pre-market for no reason whatsoever.
Engaged in the manufacture and sale of light, medium, and heavy-duty engines for trucks, buses, passenger vehicles, construction equipment, marine, and agricultural applications. I'll bet you it's a lot of that last one there, because they do a lot of business in Malaysia. Malaysia. Okay. CPO, big market, big commodities market in Malaysia.
Sure. The palm oil, right?
Palm oil, big deal. So doing business mainly in Malaysia and PRC, which I guess is a funny way to say China. And they're headquartered in Singapore.
Oh, so this is more Singapore stuff.
Dude, that tax break thing was not nothing. If you think about it, if you're given a 50% corporate break or whatever it was, it's probably just a 1-year credit. I don't think you could do that like over the long term, but that's a huge difference for these companies' bottom lines. They got to get repriced like immediately, and they're going to keep doing stuff like this. You notice how it's like every day a new headline? It's not just China, it's the rest of Asia now too.
I'm noticing that, but I'm also noticing the justification in the headlines. Not that I'm not reading the articles really, but in the headlines about
they're painted differently.
Yeah, about China, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this week particularly, at least you have earnings, so a lot of it is predicated on that. But today I saw a headline. It was like, it was AI optimism is driving China, which like
Fine.
I guess maybe right, but that's but one of a billion factors, right? So
I think it will end up being the big story for the big ones. It's going to be similar to the Mag Sevens. They should all do well. And notice how also they're already kind of chasing these things. We talked about how that would happen. Nothing changes sentiment like price. Now Ryan Cohen
yeah, I
for
did see
that
I did see that. Yeah,
every day this week with Alibaba. It
yeah.
seems like the big investment from SoftBank. Now Ryan Cohen.
Okay, so then do what you do. The Steve Strazza playbook, as I understand it right now, is now to forget Alibaba and move down the cap scale, right?
Listen, you could probably you're going to get Alibaba on a pullback here. With the way it blasted through a little pullback back towards the VWAP, I would buy it on weakness. Baidu, I think you could buy right here.
The VWAP from the low from January.
Oh, so that
From the
VWAP,
high.
no, we're going to live chart, but we probably have this one if you want to throw it up, Fonz. If you drop a VWAP at the prior cycle highs, so the fall of 2020 highs, comes right in at basically just slightly above the base breakout level. Got a little confluence of support and resistance there.
Okay. But you're right. Every day with another headline. Let's do a quick state of the market. Let's do some live charting, and then UNH is probably your big story of the morning. We'll talk that, and then we'll see where that gets us. How about that?
Let's rock and roll.
All right, Steve charts. There we go. What do we got here?
This is another one.
Oh,
it's like every day. Super Micro's doubled off of its lows from last month. When are their earnings? They're coming up here.
The deadline is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right. That's their deadline. They have to file by then, or else something bad happens. They get delisted or something.
They have an auditor now. We should have a report whenever they start.
Anyway, overnight markets, would you say they are muted? I would say muted is the word, right? Mixed and muted. Look at Ethereum. Up 3%.
DAX is doing pretty much nothing here today.
Yep.
Let's see what the stocks are doing. Euro stocks 50 doing nothing out here today. Big sell-off Wednesday, and basically buyers showed up. And you want to talk about the cryptos? What a nothing burger. You're right. Ethereum, nice little scoop there. I would, looking at something like this, I think you just got to VWAP it out from the pivot highs, and you feel a lot better about an entry if we're back above the VWAP, and then buyers are back in control of the tactical trend. Right now, a lot of them are just still a long ways away. Bitcoin would probably be the best example. We're right there, and that comes in right at the 100 level. So I think Bitcoin, 6 figures again, means buyers are back in control of the tactical trend, and we know that they're still in control of the primary trend. So I think Bitcoin's still your best bet. When you go on down the cap scale looking for stuff, Litecoin's really interesting. We were talking about Litecoin. This one's set up as good as anything. I don't know if I trust it. I did dabble and buy a little the other day, but this would be like the leader right now, Litecoin. I know you look at something like Ripple. This is one of the big election leaders. This was Ripple back in November. It's still hanging out here around, the same place where it peaked out December 2nd. So Ripple, if you drop that VWAP there, that comes in around 280, 282. But anyway, I don't think there's much to do with crypto out here until you see it, until you see that short-term strength come back in, short-term momentum come back in. A positive development today, although I would say not shocking. Oh boy, what a difference a year makes. Coinbase used to be one of these companies that was in the crosshairs of, some sort of regulatory situation or another, as much as any company out there, right? The SEC had been coming after this company literally from the day that they came public. Now that there's, I guess, a new administration in town, they dropped whatever litigation case was pending.
Coinbase said that like the SEC is going to drop this like 2-year lawsuit against them.
They've been saying it. Armstrong's on doing all the media rounds this morning.
Right.
But it got a nice pop on this news regardless. So, yes, shouldn't have come as any shock. Again, and we talk about this. We like companies like Coinbase here because Brian Armstrong is going to be crafting legislation for his own company. He's one of the guys now that they're going to look to for help. So I think that's just a big shift, right? In like the corporate dynamic there for Coinbase. And if this is popping higher here, we're up like 12 points, 13 points pre-market. If this pops higher, we got some VWAPs coming in the 280s, around 285. If we're back above there, that's a little shake and go, a little whipsaw action coming out of this coil. And maybe this can, be the start of something. I think Coinbase is still really, really good supporting evidence when it comes to assessing the health of the overall crypto market.
This morning makes for a very interesting morning on the crypto front because Coinbase is clearly moving on a piece of news, right? But it's not moving, the crypto market's not moving on this same piece of news. So you have a little bit of dispersion this morning, between Bitcoin and Coinbase, or crypto more broadly in Coinbase, right? So always watching those relationships, always.
I don't like Robinhood here. I think it's really extended. Let's look at the S&P 500 futures. We're just going to keep talking about this same setup. I feel like we've been talking about it since last week now, Spencer. We're still sitting at the upper bounds of this same range, have not got the breakout. It's really just been a lazy effort, at least at the index level for U.S. equities. That's the way it feels. Like yesterday was some interesting action. Zoom in on yesterday's candle. This is the NASDAQ 100 futures now.
Lazy effort. We're right there, man. What do you mean?
Yeah, but look at yesterday. So they sold us down in a big way. Yesterday's new multi-day lows, right? We're testing the pivot highs from late January in the NASDAQ. Big wick. They bought it right back up. I really, really thought that the action in the back half of the session yesterday was really constructive. Right, the way the bulls stepped back in, bought these things back up. We got some big wicks, but now let's go. Right, sometimes you get that little exploration move in the opposite direction before a breakout. Today could be that breakout. Right, let's see if they rally them and get these patterns to finally resolve these multi-month little consolidations. You'll see it pretty much in all of them at the same time, I would think, at this point. So what makes me wary of that is looking at something like the Dow this morning. However, as we're about to talk about, this is kind of unique or one-off situation. Now looks like it's resolving its coil lower today. We'll talk about why. Don't spoil it, Spencer. We'll talk about why in just a second. But it would be strange, right, to see the Dow resolving lower, and I'm on here saying, hey, maybe S&P and NASDAQ break higher. Let's see what happens. Why don't you hit them with the UNH news?
All right. I'm getting the sense that UNH is going to be like the next Boeing, in the sense that every 6 months we're going to get another headline about them that's not good. So this morning's headline is that the DOJ is launching an investigation into UNH's Medicare billing practices. I guess they were overcharging Medicare for unnecessary expenses, or that's what the DOJ claims that they were doing. And so UNH this morning on this headline is down 12% now. Wow. I didn't realize it was that much.
This is big. This has become like battlefield stock. This is like, you want to run from something like this. I don't think this situation just blows by. This is like, actually, they're at the forefront of something that could require like kind of structural reform in the healthcare system. So this could be a big mess that takes many, many years. Stay away from the stock right now. I don't think it's a space that everything else is working. So many other things are working so well. You're right, Spencer. It's like every other day. People are getting shot. This is just crazy. It's not for me. And if you look at the reaction from this, it's like a Wall Street Journal article, right? That they're being investigated or something that's sparking this. Yeah. So this is where we're going to open today. I'm just like drawing in the pre-market action. So we are basically maybe breaking this top, this 3-year top. On this news this morning. If we come back next week and we're talking about UNH back down here below 440, that's nasty. That's a massive top, right? Short that.
Yeah, there's just a lot of headline risk with it, and it's. I guess it's not them. Maybe it's like the system more broadly. I mean, it is them. It is them and the system more broadly, right? But there's nothing good here, right?
They have the most to lose from it, right? There's others like here, right. CVS. It's all the pharmacy benefit managers.
Wait, don't we have these charts marked up already? I think in font, if you want to bring them up.
Yeah, throw up the marked up charts. CVS was looking good too. These stocks have some decent short interest here. The pharmacies. Go up the slides.
And UNH is funny because like it wasn't that. Well, there's CVS, right? It wasn't that long ago on UNH. We were like, God damn, all-time highs, 630.
I know. Listen, that stock has had an incredible run. One of the best of the blue chips, at least of the Dow. We used to talk about UNH. It was the best Dow stock years ago.
So let's bring it back, right?
Stocks.
Let's bring it back because UNH is, of course, the largest component in the Dow. So it's dragging it down this morning. I mean, I'm looking at Dow futures. I mean, they're down 0.5%, but everyone else is up, as you said, right? So that's the reason there.
Yep. UNH dragging on the Dow. This is the complaint about the Dow. Market participants, it's price weighted, and some of these components, like UNH, shouldn't be that big.
No,
be that big. Like you really want your indexes to be run by the momentum names, which end up being the largest names, which is why market cap weighted system works so well, right? Instead of having whoever has the highest price stock be the highest weighted component in your index, why not have the best stock? That's the way the NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500 work. So,
I think just to put a bow on UNH, the one thing that everyone agrees on is that the healthcare system in America is completely messed up, and UNH, for better or worse, is now the poster child for that, right? I mean, granted, they are the largest, if not the largest, right, health insurance provider, one of them. But then there was the whole thing with the CEO last year and the shooting, and now they are like in the crosshairs of everybody, of like of the government, of like the public consciousness, and the whole system is messed up, and we need a way to figure out how to fix it, and no one knows how to do that, sadly. But hands off for you, hands off for me, because the headline risk is just too great now.
I agree.
So
I agree.
UNH, and I know someone just asked about Walgreens, which I think we also have that chart floating around here somewhere. At least I thought we did. Maybe we don't, but I mean, we talked about Walgreens. It looked great, right, for a couple of weeks there. But it is still Walgreens. I know Sam likes it, but
Spencer, what about like in other news? So Meta, big pay raises for some people.
Yeah, I actually the more important news is I finally sold my Meta yesterday. I'd bought this thing for a trade.
Nice trade.
It broke out. This is like a year and a half ago at this point. That was a long trade. I never quite got out of it. And yesterday I was like, all right, you know what? I've seen enough. 700. I'm out. So they just approved some pay raises for executives. They just did a 5% corporate company-wide layoff, and then some pay raises. So
I like that. I like that. Trim the fat, pay the good ones more.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you don't know? Sounds like
it's not my problem anymore. You know what I mean?
All right. Listen, Spencer, good for you, because it's not a great trade until you pay yourself.
Yeah. So this was a double for me. I bought this in October and November of 23.
Hard trade.
And it just never stopped going up, really. And then, but at some point you got to pay yourself, So
you got to pay yourself, and it's candles like that. That when I'm in a big winner like that, and you start seeing candles like that, these outsized wide range bars, doesn't mean it's over, but it means I probably don't want to be at that party anymore.
I mean, I almost sold like a year ago, but then it had that earnings report, and then they just bought it right away, and I was like, all right, if they're gonna keep buying it, then I'm like, what, So anyway,
I like that. I've been selling a lot of U.S. tech stocks, just taking profits here and there. Sold a little bit more Palantir this week. I just keep right sizing that one. They say you should pick the weeds and water the flowers. Eventually, you cut those flowers, you bring them inside, you put them in a nice bouquet too, right? You can't just water the flowers forever.
They've got to come inside the house at some point.
You got to trim them up, So.
Okay, what else on the news front? By the way, in case you guys are seeing, Douyu, DOYU, is Chinese stock. It is not actually down 58% this morning. They paid out a special cash divvy of like $9 or $10 a share or something like that. So
Oh yeah.
if you have a screener, you see DOU down, it's not down. It's just this they paid out a shit ton of cash to their shareholders.
So you own this stock?
No, I
Because
don't. I do not own this stock. I don't know what they do, but I saw it down 58% this morning, and I was like, "What?" But anyway,
that's right. One hole. You guys were all making fun of me for selling my Solana.
I sold my Solana too, but I sold it to buy meme coins, so that didn't work.
Listen, I sold my Solana. I sprinkled some back into some other altcoins. I got stopped out of all of them. I'm just tired of crypto right now. Other things are working so well. Crypto will be back. We'll make money on crypto again in the future. I'm not worried about that.
It's gonna, and we know it's gonna. When it happens, it's gonna happen fast because that's what crypto does.
We'll be there.
So
we're ready for it. I'm so open to it, Spencer. I gotta see it. I gotta see it. And I also want to say, shout out China. The tickers are just better in China. They got the DOU, the HUYA, the TUYA, the YY.
Well,
they got great
the tickers are better in China in America. They're not better in China, right? Because they have.
Can you buy stocks in China?
If you have an account there, but they just have the numbers. In America, we have the ADRs, right? Like you don't actually own Alibaba. You own an ADR that gives you the right to a share of Alibaba. You know what I mean? But I think they're all unsponsored actually, which means like I don't think that these Chinese companies actually themselves went and listed. I think like some bank did it on their behalf.
They're like synthetics. It's not even real money.
It's all fake. It's all fake. Like, none of this is real.
Your fart coin is just as real as your Chinese ADRs.
None of this is real. This is all fake. It's exactly right. Unsponsored ADR, meme coin, it's the same thing. Okay, couple other things.
We got Dawson in the chat talking about a dead cat bounce in the Solana. Yeah, I'm gonna chase this thing. I'm gonna chase back into this thing. Dawson, get out of here. Everybody relax about the cryptos. Just chill out. If you didn't make money in November, it's not my fault.
No, if you want to trade crypto, we just said Coinbase, right? It's having a good day. There's your crypto trade of the day, right? Although
I love Coinbase as a vehicle, and I'm looking at this chart right now, and I'm thinking, man, I could do something spicy here. I love a good Coinbase risk reversal. Am I lagging again? Can everybody hear me all right? But I like the idea of a Coinbase risk reversal. Let's see. I want to see one big green stick. It's probably something to put on at the end of the day, not the beginning. But we'll see. I love selling puts in the Coinbase.
Okay, a couple other things. Oh, just real fast. The reason I mentioned Microsoft is because this headline, I'm thinking now it's from a couple days. It's from Wednesday at this point now. But Microsoft announced this new quantum. I'm just going to read you from it because I don't even understand what this is. It's a new chip. It's a new computer chip that leverages a new state of matter, right? So it's not a solid, a liquid, or a gas. I didn't know there were other states of matter besides those three. I guess there are more. There's like 7 apparently. But Microsoft has this new chip that they're going to. It's not like on the market yet. It's not in anything yet, but they just built it conceivably for their own AI stuff. And it's not. It's a new state of matter. It's one of the newer ones, I guess. It's not one of the main ones that we all know. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It uses a topological superconductor, which is not a solid, liquid, or gas. So I don't know what that means, but I thought it was really cool.
Topological, that means like cream. You rub it on your body.
That's what.
I'm not a science person.
No, I don't know. I saw the headline and I was like, what? So I read the article and realized I didn't understand half of it.
I have no clue what you just said.
No, I don't even know, but I thought it was cool.
Zero.
Right.
You just spoke another language. And it's funny because this is happening to me more and more. I'm reading articles about AI and I finished reading them. I'm like, that was a huge waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like notice the names and numbers. Like I notice names and numbers. Like my eyes go to like tickers and like dollar signs.
Oh, see,
you know, that's more what I'm reading for.
If I see the letters LLM in an article,
oh shit,
that's a pretty good hint that I can just stop reading because I'm not gonna know what comes after that.
Are these large language models, or are they language learning models, or are they large language learning models? Are there 3 L's in some of these?
I don't know, but that's a pretty good hint that I'm going to not understand what I'm reading, so I usually stop.
Shout out MercadoLibre.
Okay, let's talk about that. They had earnings last night for the Melly.
You have to own the Amazons of other countries. This, to me, Spencer, is step one, investing outside of the United States. That's literally, okay, I want ex-US exposure. Next question you ask yourself, who are the Amazons of these countries, right? Because these other regions of the world, they're growing far faster than we are here in the United States. Really, really exciting growth opportunities. What's the easiest way to bet on the growth opportunities in, a region or a place around the world? The consumer. Find out that company that serves these areas like Amazon serves the United States and buy it. Buy it every time. These are the best opportunities overseas. Shout out C Limited. Shout out Coupang in South Korea. Shout out Alibaba. Shout out Pinduoduo. Shout out MercadoLibre. Shopify. Shopify's a little different.
No, it's not quite. That's more of a small
fine.
business
I get
play.
it. Buy the big retail plays. Buy the bets, the biggest bets on the consumer. That's all MercadoLibre is in South America.
So MercadoLibre just came in above estimates on the top and the bottom line. Last quarter, or last earnings report from November.
I love the Melly. I love Melly, and this chart looked great ahead of this.
Wait, what happened in November? They missed badly on their on the bottom line number.
Down like 15%.
So they tend to do that. Like it looks like they usually beat, and like once a year on average, they just miss really bad on their bottom line. Don't know what that's about, but could be some accounting juju. But anyway,
they probably have some currency situations.
Oh, there's that. Yeah,
always be. Listen, because the ADRs, you're making bets not just on the underlying businesses, right? The stocks that you're buying, but you're also making like currency translation bets, right? It's a foreign exchange transaction, because what happens is you're selling dollars. So why do we talk about international stocks so much when we talk about a falling dollar? Let's just back up, right, and talk about how this works. When you're buying international stocks, here's what's really happening behind the scenes. You're selling dollars and you're buying another currency. That's happening in one transaction, right? So you're out of dollars, you're in whatever new functional currency you need to go and transact on a local stock market. So say that's in the case of MercadoLibre, where are they even based? The Argentinian peso then?
I'm not. Right? Fonz, tell me where they're based. Is it Argentina?
Argentina or Brazil?
Is it?
So it's either in real or Argentinian peso.
Is it Paraguay? Is it Uruguay?
You're buying that currency, and then you're buying the stock on the local exchange. So you're making two bets. So you get this volatility with the ADRs because they're not just trading on hiccups or news or headlines that have to do with the underlying business. They're trading on hiccups or news or volatility in that currency market. And then it gets even more complicated than that. A lot of times, somebody like MercadoLibre, they're probably then going and transacting in a ton of different currencies. So they have all the translation there. That could be the same with U.S. stocks, right? Anybody who's doing international business, you'll get some sort of currency translation effect there.
Yeah.
You'll get like a triple whammy on some of these ADRs where they're doing things in different currencies. They're reporting in another currency. You're buying it in another currency. So there's a lot going on there. All
right. Let's bring Kenny on. Kenny's also eyeing these healthcare stocks. I suspect. I don't know. Does Kenny want to buy the dip in UNH this morning? I'm just going to guess. Let's find out. He's here, so let's just ask him. Rather than me guess, let's just ask what he's doing.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come for my club, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hold up. Yeah.
Hey-o.
Are we buying the dip in UNH this morning or what?
I'm going with the other two. I'm going Humana.
Humana.
Yeah. Humana's been my baby since that original crash down to like the low 200s. We've had some real success, especially the last time Humana reported earnings, and they dragged it down all day, and then it rallied 20 into the end of the day.
So you're staying. So Humana obviously down on the UNH news. You're staying away from the scene of the crime, but you're going to its peers, and you're looking for some plays there.
Exactly. Also,
yeah.
it comes down to the idea. I rarely trade UNH, so I'm not familiar with the way it moves. I mean, I could figure it out within a couple of minutes, but Humana's already hit that big monster number 250 in the pre-market. It's already bounced off there, so I kind of wait. Again, patience always pays off, especially when you're talking about the open. So let the sellers have their way. And listen, yesterday was a perfect example of that. I actually got excited about being a shorter yesterday, and it lasted for about a half an hour. The other day, it lasted for about an hour. Yesterday, I thought we were actually going to get something going to the downside, and yet you can't stay short. We were shorting Alibaba, Carvana, the Qs, and inevitably they all became longs. But I'm holding on to my bearishness today for the first time in a long time. I think Reddit running out of steam, Palantir running out of steam, Carvana running out of steam might actually lend to the idea that this market might run out of steam. And again, I know it's probably not going to work, but I'm looking at all those names today for reasons to short them. So I'm looking for some residual sellers. And again, the Qs, Reddit, Carvana, Alibaba, that type of thing. But on the flip side, XYZ long. I like the stock. I've always liked the stock. So seeing it gap down like this today, I'm looking for that 75.50 area to be broken, maybe for a quick day trade. And that's my list.
XYZ, formerly known as Block, they had earnings last night too. They missed on the top, and they missed. What the companies miss on the top and the bottom, all of that often, but it does happen. It's happening this morning in XYZ.
Yeah, I don't know why they changed their symbol. Is that some sort of Series 7 joke? Like XYZ reports and your friend calls you about XYZ? That was like every stock in the Series 7 manual.
I'm not going to pretend to know the answer. It's the company formerly known as Block, formerly known as Square.
Right. I had the IPO, the SQ IPO.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's how old I am. Some of these stocks. We were talking. Oh, by the way, we were talking about Akamai. I was there for the IPO of that one too. Now that's dating me.
Akamai.
The Akamai. And again, this used to be one of my favorite companies. This company basically cured buffering. Remember buffering on the internet? They were the first ones that built server farms around, I think, just around the world. And this was one of these IPOs. It was an $80 IPO, went to 380, and then it went to 80 cents and back to about 140. So pretty wild stock over the last 20 years. But I rarely trade it anymore, but I'll keep an eye on it today.
Wasn't there a thing a couple of years ago? There was like a worldwide internet outage, and it was Akamai's fault for like it was like an hour.
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
right?
Probably. It's something like these guys. Yeah.
I vaguely remember that. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. Anyway.
Yeah, they were also being rumored to get bought out by Amazon for the last 15 years. So that never happened.
No, never happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, guys. Kenny Glick. Kenny, wait. Do you have any option trades on today? It's Friday.
Well, yeah, I'm probably going to be looking at Humana calls. Again, I'm also Rivian as well. I'm just going to see if there's some buyers there too. But I don't want to distract anybody from my bearishness right now. I'm kind of sitting back. I'm waiting to see if those residual sellers showed up. And man, they show up on that Palantir a day later. So I'm just going to chill. And again, today we just trade options, and we're generally looking at slightly out of the money options that expired today. So it's usually either you're making 2 or 3x or you're losing everything. That's the game today. But we're usually in the right place. And one of my sleeper picks, again, speaking of healthcare, Clove right under that 450. Keep an eye on this thing. There was some unusual volume at the beginning of yesterday, and it just completely disappeared. So the stock flirted with a breakout, and then the buyer just disappeared, and it just went right back to 450. If this thing could break 450, you're looking at a penny option. Stock pops to 480. You're talking about a 30x trade. So I'm keeping an eye on that one.
That almost looks like a fat finger on the 15-minute chart there.
Very bizarre. Plus, I still like the stock they're reporting next week. I might go into the number owning the stock. That's how much I like this chart. And if it does finally break out through that 485 area, would get into the fives, the stock could likely go to 750. So I'm a fan. That I like this consolidation. But we'll see what happens tonight.
All right, guys, hitthebid.com. Kenny is there every morning and afternoon, especially during earnings season, just crushing it. We'll be sending some emails out about Kenny this weekend because he's been just on a roll.
One more shout out. Thanks for that BlackBerry call. That was right there. Those are the kind of trades I like. So right out of the JC conference, I'm sorry I forgot your name, but sick call. He showed me this BlackBerry chart, and in 2 seconds I was like, I'm in. Beautiful call. Got over 6. Thank you very much for that trade, by the way.
All
Peace,
right,
my friends.
And he's gone. All right. Let's bring on Mr. Louis Sykes. You think? Should we? I know, Steve is kind of in sitting on hands mode when it comes to crypto, but the great thing about having people who do different things here is that we can always just go to Louis at any point and say, Louis, tell us what you're doing. Tell us what the deal is, because this is like this is his domain, right? This is crypto is his domain. So let's bring Louis on. I don't know if if you have charts for us, Louis, but in any case, let's do it.
Got my fingers on the pulse, avocado and toast.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's going on?
I am just so excited to talk about crypto right now. It's 3 a.m. here in New Zealand. Like I've actually got some hiccups right now. Like that's how excited I am. So if you hear some hiccups over,
what do you mean? Like,
Hey, Louis.
You have
Hey, man,
hiccups.
how's it
Like, is this like a long-term thing, or do you just have them like right?
No, I just randomly, spontaneously just got hiccups just now. I think it's just probably some excited to talk
Is
about
this the thing?
crypto right now.
Does this happen to you?
No, I mean maybe it's just because I'm excited. There's a lot going on in crypto right now. So if you hear
Is there?
a hiccup or two, it'll be probably just because I'm excited.
What's going on in crypto right now?
Well, I just think that things look great, right? I think that fear is just out there. Positioning just got wiped out. Look at this Coinbase thing that's just happened over the headline that just came out. The SEC just dropped this big litigation case against Coinbase. And again, I think this is more symbolic more than anything, right? Under this new administration, there's a new sheriff in town. And under this new sheriff, crypto now has an administration that is not going to be hostile towards it, which has been a massive problem over the last 4 years. Where if you're developing a cryptocurrency or if you're an exchange like Coinbase, it has just been a mess following the regulatory frameworks over the last 4 years. Now that's going to change, and I think it's tremendously positive moving forward for the space that now you've got this case that was clearly quite hostile drop towards what I think is quite a great American company that's trying to lead the way and trying to create a safe way to own cryptocurrencies. And now you're having the SEC beginning to be less hostile towards that. I think that's really positive just for the space. Regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish, I just think that's positive, and I'm really happy to see that.
It's hard to be bullish a company that's getting picked on by the government. And it's about damn time that this environment changed for Coinbase, because, I mean, it as much as anybody, Louis, Coinbase has been a role model in the crypto space for a long time. Don't pick on them. They're the good guys. So I love to see it.
Yeah, precisely. They are almost the antithesis of FTX, right? Yeah. You don't want parties like FTX in the game because it actually adds risk to the industry. It adds risk to people actually holding these cryptocurrencies. Totally. But the fact that Coinbase is here, they're audited like any Wall Street firm. All the biggest players use them as their custodian from the institutional side. Yeah. These guys are allies, not enemies, and it's really positive to see the SEC working with them now rather than against them.
You think Binance is good here? I mean, it looks good. Looks a lot better than most.
I believe that not only Coinbase was positively affected by that, but I think the SEC was also pursuing Binance, was it not? And it also dropped that.
I mean, there's less that they can do to Binance, right? They have very limited jurisdiction, and that's by design. That's how Binance wants it. But they do try to come after them. And I would imagine now SEC might be harder on a company like Binance when they can be, right? And other agencies, and then kinder to a company like Coinbase who's doing business within our borders and following our laws and regulations.
Yeah, and Binance US is just so small that it's not really really that much of a factor. It's
Okay.
definitely a lot more used globally, right? Out in Asia and
Right.
Dubai. I personally use Binance a lot, being in New Zealand, and so I think Binance is. It might be more of a US versus a global situation with Binance versus Coinbase. I think that could be a way of looking at it. And one thing that I do look at in crypto a lot is looking at the data of, say, traded volume and activity in the US versus global. And now you've seen that trend actually beginning to trend higher since the ETFs, where more activity, more development is happening in the US more recently than globally. And I think under
Yeah.
this new administration with a clear regulatory framework now, I think that's only going to be positive towards that trend favoring the US.
So you brought some charts along. I think we start right at the top here. I like this. I think I know what you might be thinking here. Throw up the NASDAQ 100 overlaid with the Bitcoin.
This is
All right.
good.
Talk to us, Louis. What did you do
We talked
here?
about this. We talked about this before earlier this week when me and you hopped on a phone call, and I basically made the argument to you, Steve, that crypto has just been absolutely obliterated. The average altcoin has lost 60% of its value on that recent sell-off. 60%. Crazy.
Yep.
But stocks are at all-time highs. Speculative growth looks amazing. China is ripping.
Yeah.
Animal spirits are here, and risk assets are doing really well.
Yep.
But yet, crypto, which we've always viewed as just being further on the risk curve, on that speculative risk curve, has underperformed. And it's not only underperformed, it's actually got crushed. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
The way that I'm looking at that is, I think there's almost a bit of a catch-up trade to be made here.
It would be strange. It would be so strange to lose such a risk-on corner, right, of the risk asset world in a bull market while participation is expanding to riskier and riskier corners of the markets.
Yeah, precisely. And so that I think that's a really key area of the bullish thesis right now. That I think that's a big reason of why I'm bullish is because that correlation has just held up so nicely over the last 5 years, right? And now it's dislocating in a pretty significant way.
Yep.
My bet is that that correlation is going to revert back to its historical average, and we're going to see a bit of a catch up trade. But then playing devil's advocate, which is what you were doing to me earlier this week, Steve, you were like, well, Louis, you can't actually be basing a bullish thesis of an asset or an asset class just based on the fact that the other things adjacent to it are performing well and it's underperforming. Like at some point, that can't be the core of a bullish thesis. And so what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's not enough to get you into the trade, right? It's a
Mhm.
bullish data point, but it's still an intermarket data point. In other words, guys, we're saying, hey, everything else looks so good. Crypto's got to work. So yes, I think that's a good place to start. But then it's just like, for me, I keep coming on here and saying, I got to see it. I got to see it. So like, I think you outline your levels and you set up your plan to get in, but you got to see it. And you got to see that momentum kind of persist a little bit and turn into at least some sort of short or new intermediate trend or leg higher. So I see like you're drawing some lines on these charts and looking for entries. I don't disagree. Solana on a little scoop here. I like Litecoin on a breakout. Throw up the Solana chart that Louis brought, Alfonso. I think you got to see it. That's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, and the Solana one was a really interesting one because I look at all of these charts, right? And it was really interesting to me that Solana was breaking down to begin the week. And then virtually every single cryptocurrency had basically hit their support level like Solana did,
Yep.
but was actually really nicely holding that. But Solana was the only one breaking down. So the question that I was asking myself coming into this week is Solana the one canary in the coal mine that's going to precede crypto and its new leg lower? Or is it just going to follow like everything else? And is it just going to follow like not only all the other cryptocurrencies that have held support, but then again, back to my earlier point, all the speculative growth stocks that are at all-time highs? And from a data point perspective, I think it was probably more likely to be the latter. And I think now you're beginning to see that as well. Solana back trading around 180. That's the level for me above that support.
Yeah.
And so if Solana breaks back above that 180, I think that'll be really positive.
Throw up the Solana coin. Do we have a good reason for this? I know this has been here. It's not news, right? But the correlation between Solana and Coinbase so much stronger than the correlation between Bitcoin and Coinbase. Most of these crypto stocks look more like Bitcoin than they do Solana or some of the others. I've always found this fascinating. And I mean, this works. They're not going to go in different directions at this point. It's not the bet you want to make, right?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for teaming me up. I already know that you know the answer to this, and it's our base case that Coinbase is a bet on crypto itself,
Mhm.
not so much Bitcoin. And so the way that Coinbase makes money is by trading activity, by fees, right? That's a primary revenue driver. And when all these altcoins are doing really well, and a lot of people are trading on the platform, they're making money. The stock is trading well, and Solana is the better gauge of actually crypto itself, the ecosystem, whereas Bitcoin is a little bit different, where Bitcoin is almost becoming a little bit different to the rest of the ecosystem, right? And you've seen that over the last few cycles, where in that bear market, where in that bear market of 2024, where the average altcoin was down 70-80%,
Yep.
Bitcoin was only down like 30%, right?
Right.
And so there's this bit of this dislocation between Bitcoin and the crypto ecosystem itself, the meme coins, the new projects and protocols being built and developed.
Yeah.
And so Coinbase is more closely correlated with that ecosystem, and Solana is the better gauge for that. Obviously, that's where all the activity has taken place. All these meme coins, President Trump launched his meme coin on Solana. The Argentinian president launched his rug pull on Solana as well. So
Yep.
again, it really makes sense to see that correlation there.
The transaction fee business in crypto is a very, very lucrative, highly coveted business to be in. That's very different from traditional financial markets where nobody wants to be in the transaction fee business anymore. It's completely dried up, gone to zero. It's a trashy revenue stream. Look at a company like Robinhood, right? Who's really a stockbroker, and they just want so badly to be a crypto broker. Very different margins. And when it's a bull market and you're Coinbase, they're making huge spreads, big fees on all these altcoin trades. They're cleaning up. I don't think that lasts forever. I think the fees probably eventually head towards zero. But right now, there's not much competition. This can go on for a decade, be a great revenue stream. And that's what Coinbase is doing. I love it.
That's actually really interesting. So I don't really dive into those and into the fundamentals and into the income statements like you do, obviously. I mean, what percentage of their revenue is generated through fees, and how does that differ to like a
Robinhood,
regular Coinbase?
the majority of them. The majority.
And that's not the model for traditional exchanges, right?
No, think about it. Right? I mean, Robinhood broke that model years ago now. Sent fees towards zero. They all had to find new ways to make money. In crypto, they're still cleaning up on the fees. It won't last forever, but it's one of those things where, get it while the getting's good.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I mean, I'm just asking a question because I'm not really a fundamental guy, but
Mhm.
is that a risk to the stock longer term, right? Where longer term traditional stock outlets, the fees are trended towards zero. That's obviously been a positive for retail and people getting into the industry. But do you think that same thing happens in crypto? And then for Coinbase, then what does that lead them with?
What do I think what eventually happens in crypto?
That fees move towards zero, and then that
Yeah.
negatively impact Coinbase.
Yeah, I think so. But you're going to need more competition in the brokerage space, right? There's Coinbase and not much else right now. So I think it's going to take years, but they'll eventually compete on that. It's not happening yet, right? Like right now, me as a consumer, I make a decision. I'm going to pay whatever Coinbase's fees are because that's where I want to be. That's the platform where I feel safe, right? So they kind of got me. It's an inelastic product that they're kind of selling to me right now, right? I'm going to pay the fees because I want to be on Coinbase. In the future, say 5 years from now, if Fidelity or another major player rises up and starts offering the same business as Coinbase, then they're going to start competing on fees, and they're just gradually going to go down towards zero, right? And then these companies, what they do is they reinvent themselves and they find ways to make money in new revenue streams. Look at the big banks and the big brokers and the big asset managers today. They've completely, shifted, gotten away from fees, some more than others. Like it really hurt something like Charles Schwab many years ago. And they figure it out, right? Because what they have at the end of the day, these businesses, all these brokers, whether it's traditional broker or a crypto broker, they're in the audience business, right? That's why Robinhood's valuable. They just have a big audience, right? And then they figure out how to monetize it. Banks are just like anything else. They're just looking to sell you different products and services. So once they have you
And
in
then
their world, they figure it out. It'll be
And
fun
then-
to watch, Louis. It's been fascinating already. Think of all of the things that we were told about how crypto was going to go and how decentralized it would be, right, and blockchain only, and then how it's kind of progressed now. I can't imagine what the next 5 years will bring, but I think stuff's going to be changing a lot.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting period, and I mean that's actually really interesting. I didn't know that comparison, and that makes sense between traditional brokers and Coinbase, and
I
then it
think-
makes sense that Coinbase is the only game in town right now.
And I think 2025 is the year now, right? Because now we have regulatory certainty, or at least far greater regulatory certainty. An environment where the big guys, the traditional financial institutions, are going to merge and become one with the cryptos because they can now safely, right? So I think you start to see that in a big way. If you're BlackRock or Fidelity and you've always wanted a piece of crypto and you wanted to do more there, you're just waiting. You're waiting for the government to be okay with it. And now you have that. So I would expect more and more deals and partnerships and just a slow, gradual merging of traditional and these modern crypto finance firms. It's exciting.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a really interesting perspective. And then that regulatory clarity is obviously a tremendous tailwind. So it'll be really exciting. What happens over the next few years?
Oh, it's been so fun to watch already. Crypto's back. They're going to be having huge parties in Miami in the future. Can't wait. We're going to go to all of them. Louis, you want to give us a trade for the road? Trade for the weekend?
Let me think about that.
Yeah. What do you got? So you think they're going to dig in? You think they're going to buy them here? It doesn't have to be like actionable right now. Maybe it triggers on some strength or something. But like, what's your vehicle for this thesis that you're outlining that crypto gets in line with everything else and we get a nice bounce here? Like, what's the go-to? What comes to your mind first to express that?
I think honestly, looking at coins that have performed nicely over the last year, that have performed relatively well versus the rest of the altcoin space, not necessarily Bitcoin, but versus the rest of the altcoin space on this most recent correction, that experienced that large wick, that large sell-off a few weeks ago,
You want
that
a
are
little
now
shake?
into levels of into support. Because what that tells me is that it's actually a strong token. It's a quality token. It's had a rinse and positioning, and then it's also actionable from a risk management standpoint. And so there's a lot of coins out there like that. I think there's a lot of fat pitches, and I think the big important thing to take away from this is these aren't swing trades. I think these are patient, methodical trades where what tends to happen after these events, and I've been writing about this for weeks now, and we're seeing it play out, is that after these purges and positioning, average altcoin down 60%, right? What happens is that they move sideways for a bit, they churn, they consolidate, people get faked out, and then people are trying to get emotional, and then they trade these short-term moves, only for them to be poorly positioned when the real move actually happens. So just being a little bit patient and then managing the risk with those quality tokens. That's what I'm doing right now. I think that's the best play right now.
Don't get shook. It's a bull market.
Yeah.
Don't get shook. You know, you described all these characteristics, and I'm thinking to myself, I think H bar might find itself in that little mental scan you just gave me. The H bar. Got a big wick too from a couple weeks ago. Clean level. I don't know. This one's weird.
Should we pull up the chart? Do we have time?
Do we have the chart? I could throw it up. Here. Tell me how I did based on like the situation you just described. Okay. Oops, sorry. I wasn't ready, Spencer. Good.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So you said relative strength going back, say, trailing 12 months. I think you got some there. And that this is H bar Bitcoin, right? So coming back this time last year, it's outperformed, but it really happened last November and early December. You said you want a big wick, a little shake. Look, they explored a breakdown here in the H bar. Maybe now it's scooping back. You got the VWAP from the election candle here coming into play right there. I don't know. You got the relative strength.
Yeah, that does fit into that criteria. You got that wick, you got that flush, you got that relative strength. It's a high quality or it's a high market cap token.
Yeah.
And you've got a defined level there against that support. And so that's not a bad candidate. Look at something like like render token, ticker symbol
Render.
RENDR.
Yep. Oh wow. Okay. Talk to me.
So zoom out. So we're retesting. So retesting that long-term support level. We've got an absolute wash in positioning. Open interest in this one just collapsed like many of the other ones.
Yeah.
And this has been a strong one in that previous 24 move.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it wasn't as strong as H-bar more recently, but it's that retest of support. It's one of those AI tokens. And I think that's a really clearly defined level. So I think that's
great. This
Yeah.
thing looks like semiconductors. Huge ramp, right? Huge rally. And then just dead sideways for like 12 months. Nothing. This was an old leader. Love it. Yeah, that's nice. And the clean level.
This looks really textbook, right? That's really textbook. It's just a textbook retest of support. And so I'm overcomplicating with everything, right? I'm talking about regulations and the administration and futures positioning. But honestly, like Strazza, if you just turn this into a weekly line chart, so if you change the time frame to weekly and then you change it to a line chart, like look at how textbook that is.
Oh,
they teach the stuff in the CMT textbooks.
Oh man. Yeah, this might be in the textbooks one day. So it's spot on, Louis. And I love how you just brought it full circle. We're talking about all of these complex topics like regulations for cryptos and stuff like. Look for a clean level, right? Louis basically outlining a thesis here that crypto's gonna bounce and get back in line with the rest of these risk asset markets that are trending really well out here. Just outline a clean and clear level, right? A big polarity zone, know where you're out, make sure the risk and reward is skewed in your favor, and then just let it work. It's either going to work or it's not. But look for some clean levels. This is a great example.
All right, I dropped the link in the chat, both chats actually, guys. Louis is publishing research and trade ideas about crypto all the freaking time. If you want to go down the rabbit hole, this is the way to do it. So AAC Crypto right there in the chat. Check it out. Louis, thanks, man, for hanging out.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Great stuff today. You too.
Okay, Steve, a couple things that I want to cover before I bring Alfonso on. Hims and hers, man. Thank you to One Hole in the chat for helping me out with that one. So Hims just got cracked. And at first I was like, this doesn't make sense. Because
they just buy another company?
They dropped a PR this morning that they bought a lab. They bought some lab.
But that was yesterday. That was yesterday.
Okay, whatever. But I was like,
the at-home blood testing thing?
No, there's one this morning, I thought. Unless no, that was this morning. That was this morning.
221. But they just acquired something a day or two ago. This is too much, too fast.
That was something else. And anyway,
peptide facility in California to shore up its supply chain for personalized meds. The deal further verticalizes Hims' operations following its previous 503. I don't know what that is. And positions the company to explore advances in peptides for preventative health.
Okay, so
I don't know what any of this is.
Okay, doesn't matter. So anyway, I saw that PR and I saw the stock, Hims is down like 17%, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But thank you to One Hole for pointing out that, of course, it's
FDA comments.
Yes,
it was FDA comments.
Exactly.
See? Come on.
Right. There is no longer a shortage of this, like whatever the compound or the drug inside of these treatments are. Semaglutide, right? That's how you say it.
So Hims has to stop selling it. Is how that works. This is like an emergency situation. That's why they're allowed to sell these online.
Yep. When
the shortage is cleaned up, and Lilly and Novo have enough to sell, that Hims doesn't do that anymore. But remember, Hims' business has been built on doing things that won't last. They sold depression and anxiety drugs during the pandemic, right? They just step in. They're always like, it seems, one step ahead of the overall market. And people were talking about Hims years ago about that revenue stream drying up and how they were screwed. They continue to come out, reinvent themselves, and just get on whatever that new hot thing is. The management team here has done such a terrific job. Listen, when you make a lot of mergers like this, you're spending money, the market worries. But what the market will also do is give the benefit of the doubt to a good management team. You almost always see stocks get hit when they make acquisitions. However, sometimes a good management team makes an acquisition, that stock won't get hit as much. So when they acquired the Blood Lab stuff a couple days ago, had a huge pop. We were up like 20-25%. Now they're out here acquiring another business. So 2 in 1 week. It's just a lot. It seems like a lot. But I'll say for these guys, I think they really deserve the benefit of the doubt for now.
Well, they're getting cracked this morning.
Story.
Right. So
Stuff.
But
yeah, a big bummer. They can't sell GLP-1s anymore. I think you had to expect that was coming.
Yeah. Okay, that and Celsius. This was an absolute banger of an earnings report. I guess
what are peptides?
What are peptides?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a chemical compound, right?
That doesn't help me.
It's a chemistry thing, man. I don't know.
I know just as little about them now.
Yeah. So that's all I know. Celsius just blew it away on the earnings report. They also announced that they're buying Alani Nu, a company I've never heard of, for $1.8 billion. And Celsius is acquiring a company for about $2 billion.
Supplier?
I don't know what this company
Speaking of
does.
vertical integration, probably.
But all I know is revenue up. Revenue and earnings came in above estimates. Retail sales up 22% year over year.
Looks like a massive up. It's a nice setup.
What else did they say? International sales up 37%. It's not a huge part of their business. What else did they say? Interestingly enough, the revenue was actually down year over year, but the retail sales were up. That's weird. How does that work? I guess expenses. All right. Anyway, it's up huge today. 30% is up. Celsius. We should all be buying energy drinks. How's Monster doing?
You know, these chemicals are expensive. I used to work at a company that sold chemicals to Monster.
Oh, yeah?
Big business. Speaking of things I don't understand, I couldn't even pronounce these words. That's all it was.
What words?
That one customer. All these chemicals that are in these drinks.
Oh, yeah.
They were like coming from Asia. It was interesting.
I've never been a big energy drink person.
I don't do it.
So
I don't dabble. I drink enough coffee. I think energy drinks are terrible for you. I know Celsius is supposed to be like healthy. I don't think anything that makes your heart beat that fast is healthy.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. But I also know that Monster was like the best performing stock of the century. For
Christo says straight up poison.
Look, there are so many energy drink companies. It's not just that. It's energy drinks and it's alcoholic beverages in a can, right? Some sort of vodka mixed drink or tequila or whatever, right? Hard seltzer. There's like hundreds of these companies.
That shit's terrible for you too. I don't believe it. That's like malt liquor. Do people not realize like White Claw? That stuff's disgusting. It's awful. It's bad for you.
I just found for the first time when I was in Chicago the other week, I just found one of these drinks that I actually like. I don't like any of these canned alcoholic beverages. White Claw, I think, is nasty. I found one that I actually liked. It's called Long Drink. It's like based on this Finnish drink.
Is that the John Daly one? People like that.
I don't know.
But is it lemonade? Now they got the teas.
Yeah, I'm not into any of this stuff, but Long Drink. I actually thought it tasted pretty good. Anyway, okay.
I don't like it, Spencer. I'm not a fan.
Neither do I, as a general rule. Okay.
It's like bum beer. White Claws. You could drink Colt 45 too.
Yeah, I don't drink hard seltzer. I don't drink malt liquor. I just don't drink a lot, period. But anyway, was there anything else before I bring on Fonz that I wanted to hit on? Let me see here. We had New Holdings earnings down 14% this morning on their report.
Get the Fonz on. Fast market out here, guys. We've been talking about it. Baidu's triggering. I think this one is just so ripe. so long the Baidu here. I also really like, if you're looking to get into China, JD. Why won't JD look more like Baba in the future? That's just, it seems like an easy one for me. David Tepper loves JD. Doesn't like Nvidia here, loves JD.
Interesting.
Shout out David Tepper, Carolina Pan.
All right, let's bring Fonz on. Fonz,
guys.
baby.
What's up, Spencer?
What's going on, man?
Everything good?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
How are things?
Nice. I mean, very, very good. I'm now in the UK, visited my sister for a couple months, and enjoying to be here.
Are you coming to New Orleans with us in a couple months?
Yeah, definitely. I will.
All right.
I will be there. Don't worry.
We'll talk more about that next week on the show.
Yeah, perfect.
But we'll be gathering in New Orleans in the middle of May. Well, some of us, I won't be there. The rest of you guys are going to be there. So wait, you are the most like globe-trotting person that I know. So the year is 7 weeks old. I'm flying down tonight to Florida. I've been on like 4 flights this year, which for me is a lot. How much have you traveled this year?
I mean, this year, no, only to New York.
That's it. Fine, but New York and London.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, exactly. New York and then the UK.
That's a
Fonz,
lot.
you have some life.
That's a lot.
I agree, Spencer. Great life. Just traveling the world, doing big things. Who's
Yeah,
having more fun than you?
I like it.
That's a lot. Okay, Fonz, what are we watching today?
I'm watching. I mean, how tight, for example, the S&P, Bitcoin are right now. So I brought this charts about the S&P with Bollinger Bandwidth indicator at the lower band. Basically, that measures the distance between the upper band and the lower band of a standard deviation Bollinger Band. So when we have this type of compression in volatility, and when prices are so tight, we often see wild moves in either direction, honestly. But wild moves tends to come. For example, here is the S&P and Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it's getting very, very tight. It's making some moves today. I agree with Steve. If we can reclaim 100,000, I think buyers are again in control. But it's a nice range, and I think the next resolution, it will be it will mark the next stage, either for Bitcoin and the S&P. And things are happening, in the context of a dollar getting back in bucks, right? So a weaker dollar will be, a tailwind for risk assets, especially Bitcoin and equities.
It hasn't been that way though.
Hasn't been that way, but if we see, I mean, the dollar, it's just getting hit in the past couple of weeks in a fashion way, not in an aggressive way, and the stocks and Bitcoin has been very resilient despite this run up in the dollar in the last quarter of last year. So I'm interested to see if the dollar gets slammed here, to see how equities react.
How do you express it? Do you just buy the Coinbase? Like, how would you want to do it?
On crypto?
Yeah.
I mean, Coinbase looking good. It's shaping up a nice base. I like it. I like it a lot, and I like to buy confirmation, to be honest. So until we are not like above that shallow former highs, I will take a look and wait for a nice confirmation similar to Bitcoin. In these days,
I got one for you.
Which one?
You may not have noticed. It's only been 10 minutes, but Applied Digital's breaking out.
Oh,
15%.
You know what this means, right?
No, tell us.
Yeah, we have some positions for break multiplier and APLD. So
Hova.
yeah,
We already sold the double in this though, right?
no, but today we're definitely selling the double.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go sell the double if you're in it, guys.
I will. Trust me.
Speaking of that, I know we sent an email out yesterday. We did. Today's the last day. We've been running a promo for Bring On Multiplier only for annual subscriptions. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now if you want to get in. Today is the last day for that. So there it is. Cool. All right. Let's do some recess maybe and get out of town. Go trade. Go sell some doubles.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm a little tired this morning because I was up till midnight watching this damn hockey game. It was a great game.
How we lose to these Canadians?
Yeah. So U.S. versus Canada, 4 Nations tournament, gold medal game. Game goes to overtime, and deja vu all over again. Just like 2010, the best player in the world who plays for Canada scores the game-winning goal in overtime. Heartbreaker. But it was just a great night for hockey last night. I felt really, I was bummed, but I felt good because it was just a really fun game to watch. Really intense.
I watched the first period.
It was really intense.
I went.
And yeah, I may or may not have gone on YouTube afterwards just to watch like some highlights of the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team, just to feel good, right? Because
You're
you know,
cute. Spencer, did they boo the Canadian anthem?
I'll be honest, I missed the first 10 minutes of the game, so I don't know.
It would have been on the internet, right? Wouldn't I have seen it on Instagram?
I didn't see it, so sorry.
I made some money, so I stepped in live line. It was, I don't know, 8-9 minutes left in the first period. Canada was up 1-0, so I bet on the U.S. to score a goal in the first period and for the first period to end tied. And the odds were juiced for some reason. Hit it, and I just went to sleep. Called it a win.
Nice. That's a good night. All right. Fonz, what do you got going on this weekend? Anything good?
Yeah.
Are you going to London?
Sorry?
Are you going to London?
Not this weekend. I will go to a football match. I'm a big fan.
Who?
Aston Villa against Chelsea tomorrow. It's like the team of the city where my sister lives in Birmingham. So they are playing very good. They are in the UEFA Champions League too. So I'm very excited. It will be a big match. I love to spend my time.
Is this Champions League? I'm sorry. Is this the EPL or is this Champions League?
The Premier League.
The Premier League. Okay.
Yeah, but it will be a good match.
Cool.
And it's right there. Like right in Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. First time going to that stadium. So
Fonz, isn't like every soccer or football stadium in the UK they're like in the towns, right? They're just built into the city. They're not like in America. Yeah. Our stadiums are all like surrounded by parking lots, right? They're all like on the outskirts, but
it depends. It depends.
Okay.
It depends on the city.
All right.
We put our stadiums in the dumpy areas like New Jersey.
That's right. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. All right, everyone. We are on a 73.5-hour break, right? Does that make sense? So 71.5 hour break? I don't know. Math is hard. We'll be back on Monday morning, right? Same time, same place, full crew. And our guest on Monday, if I go to my calendar, we have a new guest. I forgot. Jason Purrs reached out to me a few weeks ago. And he said he's got a friend named Dmitry Zabalin who runs Pantheon Insights, and he's a good macro strategist. So we'll talk to Dmitry and Jason tomorrow or Monday about macro and see if we can get some trades on from that discussion. And that's what I got, everyone. So drop us a like, please and thank you. I'd appreciate that. And subscribe. All in all the channels. Here's our social media. Bada bing, bada boom. Do that. And have a great weekend. Go make some money. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye the Baidu.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.